Hello, hello. Welcome to the Rowling's Realm Head Staff live stream, everybody. I am Bradley Malvern, the owner and founder, and I'm joined today with Niles Montgomery,
Howdy.
John Francoeur, and
Hello.
and Shoham Subri. We will start today with just some general Q&A where you guys can ask us some questions. We will do our best to answer most of them. And then we want to get into some of the features we're anticipating on having upon release, and then also what we are planning to add in the future. So we can get cracking on. So, anyone have any questions?
Due to the live stream overlap, this might take a long time, but it's
Yeah, I
good.
probably will.
Oof. do, 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 do.
Yes, there is a custom texture pack. We are basing it off of Conquest, though our head of game design, Jay, is doing a fantastic job creating custom models and other custom textures. We do plan on having some music on the server, yes. We are going to try and get that to really enhance the experience, though we aren't sure whether that'll be there upon release or a little bit after.
I know I saw spells earlier. That's something we'll definitely get into in a hot minute. So hold tight on that one. I'll definitely cover that question.
Like I said, yeah, there will be some music in our pack. Whether it'll be there upon opening or not, we do plan on having it. Early access will be, for the most part, gone through tomorrow. Anyone who has purchased it will be getting a message on the site tomorrow, and it will be further addressed then. But we are planning to have it within the next week or two. It'll span over a few days, and the people with access of it will come on and get to test out some of our very more prominent features, as well as seeing some of our anticipated locations. Staff will not be on during the beta testing part unless they have donated for that package. Other than that, they will be on after you guys, though. They do get to come on early.
Classes also will be covered in just a bit. Just bear with us for a little bit, but I will definitely go in depth on that part.
Store items, yes, we have a long list of plans for store items. We already have a lot ready that will be added upon opening.
Jobs. Now that is an interesting question, now isn't it?
Yeah, jobs will also be talked about later. That is a big segment of this.
Yeah, very important.
Very important, exciting stuff. The plot server at this time we are undecided on, though I do believe it'll most likely be shut down when RR opens. As at this point, it's mainly just a sort of hub for the players to come on until we open our doors completely. So I do feel that once we are open, it is probably unnecessary to have it. Niall, you should answer the one about houses.
Oh yes, of course. Okay. So there are different houses per school. So like for Hogwarts, there's the generic Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, Slytherin, Gryffindor, Ilvermorny, Thunderbird, Wampus, Puckwudgie, and Horned Serpent. And then for Beauxbatons and Durmstrang, we have 3 custom houses in each school. So for Durmstrang, there's Draken, Valkyrie, and Fenrir. Whereas Beauxbatons has Melusine, Abraxan, and Reynard. Each have their own unique qualities. So each of them, of course, go to like different types of personality. So like take Beauxbatons, for instance. If you had Melusine, you're more typically like passionate, you're very open, artistic, and kind of all that fun stuff. Where if you're more Abraxan, you're more of like the headstrong leader that they all look to. And then I believe Reynard is a little bit more on the cunning side. You use your mind over brains over brawn, basically. So that's just a little sneak peek. You can read more about them all. Or actually, wait, no.
They are mentioned a little bit. They are on the Discord
They're,
announcements.
yeah, they are on the Discord.
I saw a question about whether you can visit other schools. Yes, all of our schools, which we are releasing with, which is Ilvermorny, Hogwarts, Durmstrang, Beauxbatons, and Malvern Academy. The Malvern obviously isn't accessible to players, though as a student, anyways. But they all are explorable on the map. They are all connected on one map, though they're all in different separate islands, or I guess continents, really. So you can explore the world and find them all. You do not pick your school. The school is sorted, yeah, upon joining.
Okay, so you progress through the school by attending classes. Every time you attend a class, you get completion credits, and you can use them to buy spells. Once you buy all the spells from the store, you move on to your next year.
Although quests are integral in yearing up. I'll also cover that a little bit, just a little bit later.
We do use the same magic plugin that is familiarly seen, but it is quite customizable, and therefore we are changing quite a bit, so it won't be nearly as recognizable. So it shouldn't be like that. There are quests in the server, as Niall said. He will go into that in a little bit, quite in depthly.
Oh, believe me, I'm more than ready to talk about quests, but in due time,
The school sorting works upon joining for your first time. You will be asked a series of questions. It'll put you into your school. You won't necessarily know right away, though you will find out as the quest line develops on your journey to your school. Unfortunately, any progress you make during early access will not be kept due to the fact that we will be giving you special perks and permissions that you wouldn't normally have gotten so fast because we want you to test things. So for that reason, we have to reset everything, all the user data. The question about Quidditch we'll also be getting into later, Draco.
What?
The stairs do not move in Hogwarts, unfortunately, no.
Unfortunately.
We thought due to the fact that we do like to use quite a bit of blocks and such for our detailing, it already is pushing the limits on lag at the first place, so having moving stairs would just pretty much ruin anybody's day. Earning galleons will also be gone into quite a bit later. So as a brief overview, you can get them from going to the mob camps, going to stores, quests, mini games, all kinds of stuff.
From one school to another on foot? Oof. A little bit of time.
It would definitely take you a while. There's quite a lot of swimming. So
definitely.
You might not want to do that. What can you do after you graduate? That is a very interesting question, which we're going to be getting into later. And that is something I'm super excited about. Does the headmaster have a beard for Malvern? No, I do not have a beard. I know. We do actually. As you can see in the trailer we just shown, we do intend on having all schools. Obviously not upon opening, but we will be adding the other 4.
How long to graduate? Oof. That's the question. Yeah, honestly. A long time.
It would definitely take a while, though it won't take as long as seen as on other servers, due to the fact that we are our main focus on RR is more of the overall experience, not just the experience within a school. So as you'll be seeing when we get into it later, our post graduation of the school is when the server gets most interesting. So we don't want to take up too much of your time with the schooling of it all. As for your question, Harry, we make it so you cannot apparate anywhere until you've been to that location. Then you can get there by flu. So once you've been there, you can get around quite much more easier. But you have to discover it first on your own.
Malvern playing into the server's lore. Whew. I love that question. So Malvern, okay, I can't spoil too much, but Malvern basically, he plays a very integral role in everything. So he's just really, I can't go too far in, but basically I'll just tell you this, that he's more important than you think. Surely, like, no students can attend it just yet, but in the quest, well, a little bit in the quest line and some side quest line, you'll get a little bit more information regarding Malvern. So I'm definitely really excited to release more in-depth lore because I have so much in plan. I'm so ready to reveal it, but alas, in due time.
To answer your question, we do have common rooms in our schools. The schools are Ilvermorny, Hogwarts, Beauxbatons, Durmstrang, and Malvern Academy. Though the first four are the only ones accessible to players as a student. We do have secret passages. We will have the nocturnes to all of our Diagon Alley equivalents. Though whether we'll probably not release them till a little bit after opening, just so we can slowly release a few extra builds as we go. We do plan on having a player economy, yes. There are a lot of special mobs, yes. We have our head of game design, Jay, has done a wonderful job making quite a few terrific models. As I don't know if you've discovered, you can see some of them on our site for the pets, or you can see them in-game on the plot server if anyone's bought a pet. They could show you.
Yes, we are going to have special mobs.
We are going to be planning on releasing a new build location once a month.
Yes, Rowling's run is only for the Java edition.
And yes, Malvern is accessible by players, so it's explorable.
It's one of the most nicest places to explore.
Totally.
I will say.
Biased opinion. Depends if the right merchant is in town that you can buy a baguette at Ilvermorny. The year the server's based in is around the later 1920s. Yes, the later 1920s, like more specifically around 1928, 1929.
To answer your question, Jackson, Castle Bruxo, Wagadu, and Mahukatoro will be available to players, though not upon opening.
Ooh, question. Life?
Which question? Which one? Which one?
All of them.
Oh, I know. There will not be a baguette once again, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Yes. After we finish, we'll still have a link so people can rewatch or watch if they couldn't attend. So don't worry about that. Okay, I like that question. About, more specifically about the random perks and buffs, because that's something we will definitely hit later. I'm really excited for that one. Canonically, well, according to RR canon, I guess, Malvern is located in the United Kingdom.
You will be able to buy wand skins, hats, pets, alliance packages, we'll be getting into later, and our other bundles on the site.
Of course, there's an American version of Diagon Alley. Its name is Hudson Underpass. I once, I had more than enough fun making the lore for that.
We do want to build, the goal for the build team is to build as much as we can, and to show off as much of the wizarding world as possible. So for that reason, we will in future be building the French Ministry of Magic, and it has been hinted at that it might be in the next upcoming Fantastic Beasts movie. So if that's the case, we're going to wait until that movie before building it. We will not be leaking any wands today, no. We will be showing off quite a bit of other stuff. What makes us different from other servers would be that we are the first, I think, in this time zone. We are also one of the first to have this many schools and to have an open world concept with them. So a lot of our features and the way the server runs, with the quest system being heavily involved in terms of gearing up, everything about it is really unique to us. And it's definitely something we pride ourselves on. In terms of the player voting, we are going to be having it so it's only the MACUSA president that the players can vote in and out of office once or twice a month. However we just, or maybe not once, twice a month, but however we decide to do that, whenever we decide to do that, it'll only be, yeah.
About 2 more questions, I believe.
The opening event will be open for about a week and a half. There'll be more information on it in the next edition of the monthly Rowlings Realm. We do plan on having a major event like the Triwizard Cup, yes, but it won't be upon opening.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we're gonna move on to the next segment really quick. So we'll start talking about what we are planning to have upon opening, I think. So there'll be more time for questions after that.
Don't you worry. Okay.
Okay. So Niles, want to kick us off?
All right, I guess. Yeah, let's get into it. Okay. So, this first little part is going to be talking about quests. So, personally, this is a really big topic, personal favorite of mine, obviously. So, we'll start off by hitting it off with the main quest line. So, okay, so you start off with your sorting. And you get sorted into your respective house, and then you will be most likely instantly teleported to your starting neighborhood location. And then from that, everything from that is customly created to that school. So there's going to be a different quest line if you go to Beauxbatons, Durmstrang, Ilvermorny, Hogwarts. It's going to be all different. Sure, if you get a resorting, then maybe there might be some similarities, but in the end, the big plot line, completely different. I'm really excited, especially about the end result that you have to deal with, but obviously can't spoil too much. But definitely be on the lookout for that. Just another friendly reminder, server is set around 1920s, like I said earlier, about 1920, 1929, so Grindelwald is still rising yet more. Um, Oh, side quest. How can I forget? So within each location, there's like aside from the main quest line, of course, there are side quests that you can do to earn galleons, especially. This is probably one of the bigger ways to make money, or maybe just another like specialty item or something like that. Although I should mention that after you complete a main quest, you are most likely going to be given like between a 30-second and a 3-minute cooldown, just so like you don't want to like rush through all these quests or take on too much at once. So definitely pace yourself because you don't want to like rush through it all at the beginning. Although the beginning quests, more than would love to just breeze right through them. And then I believe that's almost it regarding quests, because I don't want to spoil too much. Although I should mention that within the main quest line, you will have to make a choice. I'll leave it at that. You have a choice to make, and the fate is in your hands, as a rather interesting fortune teller will tell you, regardless of. So, have fun.
Okay. Well, if that's all you want to say about that, then I would say that I'll move on to the alliances next. Okay, so we have our alliances on the server, and so we have 3 of them. So we have Grindelwald's force, obviously, since we're based in the 1920s. It's the time of Grindelwald, so he would be leading up the bad side instead of Voldemort. Then we also have our middle ground, which is the Magical Alliance, which we'll get into more detail about that later, I think, Giles, or... I can't remember.
I believe so.
Yeah, we probably will. And then the good side is the Barnum Army, which also has a complete long list of what kind of lore and stuff are in the ropes for those two. Both the Magical Alliance and the Barnum Army is all obviously custom created for Rowling's Realm. So that's just something we'll have to look into, and we'll announce that later, I think, on the full details of those. So you have to be looking out for those. But essentially, we will have those 3 packages available on the site. Each come with their own hat, wand skin, and a few other features, which I'm not going to get into right now. But yeah, so that's pretty much, I think, all for alliances, really. So, Shohama, if you want to move on to your bit.
Okay. There are a few gameplay features that I would like to talk about. The first one is the full network. As you probably know, our wizarding world is huge, and getting from one place to another may take a lot of time. This is why the Flu network is the best way to get from one place to another. We've set up many warps across the world, and you can unlock them by finding their location. Once you discover a warp, you can teleport to it whenever you want for a very low price of our in-game currency. Another feature that I'd like to mention is our advanced quest system. This advanced quest system gives us the ability to create quests with many tasks and events, such as casting spells on specific blocks, exchanging items with NPCs, killing entities, and much more. The last feature that I'd like to talk about is one that you're probably familiar with: the pets. Our pets plugin is really one of a kind. It's the first pets plugin that uses animated custom models. With the pets plugin, we can create and customize as many pets as we want, and we are definitely going to add more pets in the future. If you're interested in having a pet, you can purchase one today on our website.
Okay.
All right. The big one.
Yeah, the big one.
I'm ready. Okay. Okay. All right. Classes. Okay. Basically, these are the biggest part of server is classes. So As some of you may have seen on our plot server, just a little sneak preview of professors teaching, although not in like official classrooms, like classrooms that they build, but still nonetheless. I'm just more going to tell you about like the function of the class, how classes really work, in case you haven't been on plots, you haven't had the opportunity. Okay, so how classes work. Generally, once created, there will be a message that'll appear that says like, oh, hey, we'll just take Charms. Charms class is going to begin, click here to join. And then just simply click on the link and it'll put you right into the class chat. And you won't be muted until the class begins or the professor toggles the chat itself. And then they go through, you do your assignment, turn it in, get it graded, and then once it is graded though, you will be immediately kicked from the class. So that's just something to note. I would say now is the time to apply for professor, but unfortunately they are closed at this time. And then like the general purpose. So classes, you have to go to a class to get completion credits, because in order to purchase spells, you need the completion credits along with going through your respective year and quests. Once you have all of the available spells, you will be considered the next year. So like from year 1 to year 2, and so on and so forth. But I think I'll cover yearing just a little bit. Might have jumped. Oh, well, actually, kind of ways right in. But nonetheless, so yeah, classes are just a really big part. Highly recommend to join because you kind of don't have a choice. But have fun with the classes, really, because I know that all 20 of us now, all 20 of the professors really put a lot of backbone into their classes. They love what they do. They're just so, I'm more than thankful to have a really talented team. And then, I'm sure beyond opening that, like I plan on reopening professor applications because can never have enough. So I believe that's, okay, so some images we have for you, just a little sneak peek into classes themselves. So they'll be pulled up momentarily. And while they are, I guess I'll just talk a little bit about yearing, a little more so. So like year 1, well, I believe each year has about 8 or 9 spells each that you have to get either through completion credits, and then one of the 9, I believe, either that or the one that is through quests. Oh, oops, sorry, one just came up. Okay, so that one I believe is the Charms classroom, and if not, well then, you're in for a great surprise.
All the classrooms were built by Bo.
Yes, shout out to Tiny Bo for building all of our wonderful classrooms. I'm more than excited to see them filled with all of you. I'm reading the chat. 20 professors is not enough. Nearly not enough. Yeah, like I said, I plan on opening applications definitely beyond opening, so don't worry for all you prospective applicants. And I believe that really wraps everything up regarding classrooms. So yeah, I believe that wraps up the majority of my section.
As some of you may know, we are going to add minigames to Rowling's realm. Unfortunately, there won't be any minigames upon opening, but we'll start adding them as soon as possible. All of our minigames will be completely custom and they will match the theme of our server. And of course, the winners will be rewarded with gold. The first minigames that we're going to add are smaller ones, but with time we will start adding bigger minigames.
Sweet. Okay, now here's quite an interesting bit. The build and adventuring / exploration on the server. Obviously Ashley couldn't make it today, so I'll have to talk to it about it for her. But one of the things that RR prides itself on the most, as I'm sure many of you know, would be our builds, because obviously the server was started 2 years ago by Charles and myself, and the first person brought onto the team was Katie. And so the three of us really ran the server for a long time until Ashley finally joined, and the four of us were all came from building backgrounds. So we've always had an extremely high standard for our builds on the server. And that's one thing that we always wanted to keep ourselves above everybody else, is by really making our builds really above and beyond, and really going into the last final detail to make every single one of them interesting. So with that, we have camps all around our world. Different continents have different creatures which you can go and you can fight them. You get money and gold from them. So we have every different camp has different styles and whatever. Also the villages, we have I think roughly 2-ish villages on each landmass along with the schools. The villages are all done in different styles depending on the continent or location they're at. I believe we have some pictures we'll be showing. Yeah, so I believe that first picture that just came up, I mean, I'm a little delayed, so I'm sure you guys saw it for a while. That is a werewolf camp. Yeah, and so we have that, and then obviously we have our schools, our cities. We have Diagon Alley and Nocturne, though the Nocturne won't be released till a bit later. Then, of course, we also have the Diagon Alley's equivalents, the other schools. So that's Leo Magique, Hailvik, and Hudson's Underpass. Always tough trying to remember the names. Now, one really exciting thing that we're announcing today is the picture that you've probably been seeing for the last 30-40 seconds that I've only just seen, is a picture of our new map that we will be releasing, and it is our wilderness map. It'll contain our more darkish side of things. We'll have a Grindelwald's Mansion will be on there, Azkaban will be there, Normangard will be there. So we'll have it all there for you to explore, but that obviously won't be there upon release. That'll be there a bit after. So that's something really exciting. And so yeah, so we do plan on having a really large exploration for the server. We want it to be quite exciting, and that we always want new things for you guys to see. That's why we plan on releasing new locations every month, because we feel that without those, the server, like, we don't want the exploration to ever really die, so we want to always keep that fresh by adding more to find. So that is pretty much the main focus the build team has. Okay, I'll move on to the next bit, which is the events. So I am obviously the head of public affairs, so I lead the prefects and the events team. So the events team has been hard at work recently planning out our events. And so one thing that's really exciting about Rowling's Realm is we have a very unique way of doing our events. So we have what we like to call seasonal activities. So what those are, they last a full season. So they start on the first day of spring to the last day of spring, for example. And so essentially, these activities are the only activities, besides a few other really small ones, that will break our lore and go into other fandoms. So things like our Christmas event and such like that won't be ruined by, as I commented on our Discord announcement a while ago, a Thanos invasion. We like to keep those things separate, as we feel it would be best to keep those kind of events like Valentine's and Christmas and those kind of things with just strictly Rowling's Realm and Harry Potter. Though, whereas we might have a seasonal activity which is just completely optional to go to or not. If you didn't go, you're not going to lose anything. If you did go, obviously it's a lot more to explore. There's lots of stuff to do. It's a little fun. There's all and especially if you really loved that movie or that book or whatever it's based off of, we have like the full world of that to explore. So it is quite exciting with that. So yeah. So that is one really exciting thing about our events that I'm really excited for. And then we have our regular events, obviously, which will just be based off of the Harry Potter, so we'll have like Christmas and such like that, and that won't be breaking lore. So the only other thing, like I mentioned, that would break lore, because I did say there's something else, and those are just small little events. So we might have, if there's a month that is kind of like nothing really going on, then we'll throw in a little event in there. And so with that, is we'll have sort of like maybe it could be something like it'll just be a small sort of event that might not be really fitting to Harry Potter. Okay, so I think that concludes the current RR section. The next bit we're going to go into is another Q&A, so you guys can just ask us questions. We'll do our best to answer them.
Oh, although there was a question that was mentioned just after I finished my little segment about classes. I totally forgot to mention. So, you know how like there are different students that go to different students go to different schools. Each class will be open to any student regardless of school. Like it isn't so like only Durmstrang professors can teach Durmstrang students. It doesn't work that way at all, because that would be too specific and too much dependency. So it's better to just have classes open to everyone. So no need to worry about that.
Okay, events will not reoccur. Every year they'll be different. Though seasonal events, since they are quite bigger and they will be put a lot more work into them, we won't be throwing those away. So I do believe there is a plan. So after they end, maybe like a few months later, we will like open them just kind of for exploration. But any of the activities that were there will be removed. So really, it's more there just for like a place. If you wanted to go adventure, you could go there. But other than that, it's not really a big problem.
Yes, you can summon a Patronus.
Oh, what will the equivalent of all the other Diagon Alley like? I suggest to rewatch the trailer, because almost all of them but Hudson Underpass are shown.
Special items, yes, there will be special items in the events. Though, like I said, the seasonal event, since I know some people might not want to dabble in other things, they might want to just stick strictly to Harry Potter. Like, seasonal events are completely optional. If you didn't go, you're not gaining any, you're not going to lose anything. But by going, you can like gain like little items or whatever. But it's not like it's gonna really affect your actual overall Rowling's Realm gameplay.
The tags on the plot server versus actual RR are going to be completely different, so don't you worry.
Yeah. We have completely formatted there, so there won't be any issues like that.
I believe I saw a question regarding player guilds. Aside from the magical alliances, I don't. Player guilds will be a feature down the line, maybe, but as of opening, most likely not. Besides, like I said, the alliances that you can purchase. So.
You can buy a resort, yes. Though we don't, we won't have house sorting. It'll be school sorting. But yeah, resorts will be available in the store. We
Can
do
you
have.
become an Auror? Oh, sorry.
No, you go. You go.
Can you become an Auror is another good question. But I'm excited because it's one of the next things that we're mentioning. So
Yeah, we'll be talking about post-education soon.
Yeah.
In terms of your question about Grindelwald's Uprising, that will be more. You'll have to just kind of discover that for yourself when you're on. Though there will actually be like different changes and stuff happening to the server from Grindelwald, as we do want it always to be fluctuating and interesting. It makes it more exciting, I guess. Prices for alliances have not been decided yet. There will be bosses, yes.
In terms of houses, you most likely won't. Well, here's the thing: you can choose your house basically, but it won't be like a prefix. It won't be anything official because the primary competition is house instead of school. So, for instance, in classes, if let's say you did something really great, you would get school points for your school instead of house points. So, because there would be 14, I believe, houses, so that's just too much.
We do have a plan, so once every 2 or 3 months there will be a player vote where a player can run for president of McCusa, and they'll be able to be the president for about a month or so. The actual player base will be who votes them in, so there could be like 3 or so people running for it, and then it's just the players get to vote whoever they want in, and then that person gets access to like the McCusa president's office and stuff like that. So it's more like an exciting little thing like that.
Oh, and yes, there's going to be other schools besides Hogwarts. At opening, there's going to be Hogwarts, Ilvermorny, Durmstrang, Beauxbatons, and Malvern. But Malvern isn't accessible to attend.
Yeah, so we'll probably answer a few more, and then we'll move into the future of RR. So if you have any so if you have any questions, ask away now.
I see everyone's getting in their promo.
In the future of R, we will have a house plot where people can build their own houses. It won't be available upon opening, though. Oh, you can go.
Sorry. Classes written, or are they more interactive? A little bit of both. Some can be a little bit more written, but some can be like super interactive. Like I know some professors do like debates, so they'll divide, like, let's say if there was like 4 sections of tables, they would divide that and say, if you agree, we're here on the red table, or if you disagree, over there to the light blue table, and so forth.
And like I was saying, the elected president, the elected player president, won't have any real power in terms of permissions on the server, but they will, I guess, have some sort of like fun little power where they can kind of be voice for like the community at large. So if they really felt like they wanted something added to the server, they can really try to push for that while they're in that position, because obviously it'll just be like a fun little quirky thing. So I guess in a way they do have some sort of power, though we do listen to all our players and their suggestions, so it's not like we'd be ignoring everyone else but them. But I don't know, so I guess, but they don't really have any permissions like on the server in terms of packs or anything.
What classes do you think will be taught? Oh, a variety. There's so many, ranging from astronomy to divination to charms. That's totally not biased of me to say charms, but charms. History of magic, ghoul and ghost studies, care magical creatures, so on and so forth. So I'm excited personally.
We do have families, but what will happen is when you join after you're sorted, depending on what school you were in, there is a list of over 100 names for each school, and it will randomly assign you a last name. But we will have this item on the site where you can donate for, and it will be a family package. So you and up to 10 of your friends can all have the same last name. You can make your own family. Though we do try to stay away from canon just because it's easier that way and doesn't really break any lore or anything. But you can make your own families, yes. So I think now would be a good point to move on to the future of Rowling's Realm, which is extremely exciting.
Oof. Yes, it is.
Okay, so the first bit we'll be talking about is professions. So I know a lot of you have been asking what happens after you graduate, and well, I'm very excited to announce that we have a very interesting and unique system of what happens. So you can completely decide what you want to do. Essentially, what we have is what we like to call skill or our career trees. So there's 3 of them. So we have the I gotta okay. So I believe they'll be brought up on the screen, and so we have 3 different branches. We have magical biology, which I think is going up first. Yeah, and so essentially,
innovation. We'll probably go one at a time, actually.
yeah. So we have magical biology, and so essentially, with that, that you can essentially pretty much choose sort of what you want to do. So there's a long list of all kinds of jobs and things you can have. How you get them is totally up to you. So as you can see, there's 2 branches in that. There's magizoology and a herbologist. So depending on what interests you, you can do either one. So you can start off at each one. Everything has its own quest line, and lots of different things you can do with that. So with that, you can slowly make your way through and choose what kind of job you would like to do. Obviously, every single job has its own completely different perks. So, for example, under advanced, if you went down and went to expert magizoology and took advanced charms, you can actually ride dragons, which would be pretty cool. We also have the creature trainer, which is the advanced one there as well, which allows you to really, like, you'll have different perks with the creatures at camps and stuff like that. So there's quite a lot to it. It's really, really quite exciting. Some of the more unique ones would be something like a center consultant, which Niles, if you want to explain it.
So center consultant, you may be wondering why is divination like a requirement for that? Well, you have to remember that centers were a big source of divination aside from seers, of course. So we said magizoology mixed with divination, perfect description of a center. So the center consultant means basically they're easier to like handle with centaurs, I assume like more easy accessibility to a center camp, hidden in the wild. So that's definitely a cool one to look out for. I know some of these you may be wondering, like, how does that play? Like ornithomancy, I know, just to give like a 2-word synopsis, is divination mixed with birds. So you can have more control and prediction over certain birds and stuff.
Yeah, so essentially, this is the magical biology tree kind of thing. So there will be 3, as we said, so we'll be moving through all of them, but we're at a delay, so I don't know when you'll see the other one, so we might be a bit slow. But yeah, so it's really nothing to really be scared of. It's quite an exciting thing. We like to do it completely different so there shouldn't be any sort of like mixed feelings. It is what it is kind of thing. Like we need, like it is gonna fill the post schooling quite well because it is realistic. You can actually have to choose your future and what you want to do. But yeah, so innovation. So as you can see, there's Magismith and Alchemist. So with those, some of the more exciting ones would be Flu Regulator. So for example, that would mean you can, once you get to flu regulator, you can flu around using the flu system without having to pay for the flu locations, because obviously wherever you go, you're going to have to pay for them. So having this kind of thing, it just depends on your kind of gameplay, what you're looking for the most part. Like if you were wanting to be really strong in terms of your spells, then you might want to aim for something that has those sort of perks. Whereas if you wanted something that, like if you really like loved making potions, then you might want to aim something for that. Like it's really just completely up to you. So the last one I'm going to talk about here is the Muggle Consultant. That one's really exciting. It is essentially just the it allows you to talk to the presidents and prime ministers of the Muggle world, and you get to like talk back and forth. Like I said, there's whole quest lines for all the jobs. So there's like full lengths of stuff. It'll be these will take up more time, kind of thing, than
Yeah.
schooling with whether you're in Hogwarts or Ilvermorny or whatever you choose to do. And so our final spell or final tree, I guess, is advanced magic. So it has quite a lot of interesting stuff here. I'm assuming probably some of the stuff you guys would prefer, sort of like healer or because Aura has better attack spells, healer is better healing spells. Then there's some interesting ones like magical construction repair and a correctional warlock, which is definitely interesting, and you probably have no idea what they mean. So we'll let Niles explain all about those.
So we'll start with correctional warlock. So to like briefly explain, so advanced magic. For sorcerer, this is more like a charms, defense against the dark arts kind of just take to it. Whereas warlock is more transfiguration based, as you can tell by like more the end game, especially on the bottom left with advanced alchemy is animagus, because as you know, as some of you may know, that in order to become an animagus you have to brew a potion and you have to have the leaf in your mouth and all the thunderstorms, so a lot of specificity. But regardless, sorry, I got a little bit off track. Correctional warlocks, so they basically are the people that untransfigure. They're responsible primarily to correct any transfiguration mishap that may have happened. In magical construction and repair, this would be someone who repairs magical objects such as like brooms, wands, and so forth. So these would definitely be your guy. So that's definitely a big thumbs up on that one. And as you can see, both take advanced charms, but it just depends on whether you want to become a sorcerer or a warlock. So really, it's all up to you, and that's really what we're trying to, I guess, push forward when we give out these professions, because we want to make it as complex as we can, so that it's in the end, it's like if you get bored of one line, you can just jump right onto another. So it's magical, no pun intended.
And to wrap all up that, essentially you can choose 2 branches, and within those 2 branches you can choose 2 careers in each. The first 2 careers come free except for the costs of any sort of like extra schooling, so like beginner's magic zoology or advanced charms or whatever you take. Those kind of things will have costs as they're a class you'd have to take. Whereas your second or your third and fourth careers you have to pay for up front to a certain price to be able to start that journey, and then you have to pay for the classes to take for that as well. But yeah, so in total you can have up to 4 careers, so that way you can really customize how you play the server.
Yep.
Okay, so moving on to the next section, we have Future of Minigames, Shoham.
Alright, so there are a few minigames that we have in mind and that will be added in the future. One of them is being Myth Wars, which is our custom version of the known minigame Bed Wars. Instead of using a sword to protect your bed, you will be using a wand and spells to protect your Niffler. Another game that we're going to add is One in the Wand, which is our magical version of One in the Quiver. Instead of gaining arrows for your bow, you will be given a one-use wand every time you respawn or kill someone. The last minigame that I'd like to talk about is Magical Murder. This is also a modified version of a popular minigame. Unlike normal murder, the detective and murderer will be armed with a wand. The murderer's wand can only cast Avada Kedavra, while the detective's wand can only cast Petrificius Totalus.
I'm excited.
I know, the minigames are going to be so sick, I cannot wait. Okay, so I guess that brings us back to the future of build expansion. So as I kind of went into earlier, the build team does have a really, like, they really want to expand and really want to make sure that we could really really make the adventuring and the exploration of the server far more advanced than anywhere else. because we feel that like the main part of the journey of a server would be to explore and to see everything and to have fun, right? And so with all that, we want to always be releasing new locations. So like once a month, we're going to be releasing new locations. That sort of stuff we feel is quite important to us, kind of thing. So we definitely we're definitely planning to really go for that. So like pretty much what we hope to gain overall is we want to really create a world that is so large and so expanded that you can't even attempt to explore the whole thing in just a few days. Like it should take you a few weeks or whatever to really find all the little secrets and really see all the spots and really explore everything. It really shouldn't take you just like the first few days, then there you are, you have it, like you're done, kind of thing, right? So some of the pictures we're going to be showing is some of the other schools. I know people have been asking about them. So the first one that's popped up is Wagadu. So that's the African school. Obviously, these won't be available for opening, but they will be available in future. The next one's Castle of Bruxu. That is obviously the Brazilian school. Um, and so yeah. Um, So we do have quite a few worlds that are because we don't have just the one world that's an open expansion. Obviously, we have the no border sort of world, which has the main four schools. I guess five, including Malvern, and then we have the wilderness, which I announced earlier. We'll have a third one, which is obviously going to be the other world with the other four schools. And so then we'll also be adding a second wilderness, which will have the Magical Alliance and Barnum Army locations and sort of like focus points there as well. So essentially, overall, we do have loads and loads and loads planned, and we do have a lot we're bringing to you to make the adventure really magical and really exciting. What is next?
Oh, class interactions and stuff. Okay. Back to classes. Aren't y'all excited? Okay, so long term down the line, we're gonna have, or we plan on having a custom plugin for each class. So, like, just to make it a little bit more realistic, and currently, like right now, we're still a little bit in the brainstorming. We're more just like we're all ears on what kind of ideas that you have. Although in mind, well, obviously we'll have like a potions plugin, but even further, we might have something so far as like a divination plugin, where it's like you look into a teacup and you see the tea leaves left before you, and with your knowledge of testamancy, read your own prophecy. And we might even have a herbology plugin where it identifies different types of plants, whether it be from asphodel to mandrake to anything else that you can really think of regarding herbology. So this, so if any of you are prospective professors or even current professors, this is something that I am definitely looking forward to down the line. Is just the potentials of plugins as it is, and then the integration of magic. Of course, especially in a charms class, you want to like maybe practice the spell you're teaching. The only issue with that, obviously, is like maybe not everyone knows the spell at the time, but I believe down the line, we might have it to where everyone can, but just for that one class. But beyond that, there's not too much because classes are already inherently player interaction based, along with getting the information and assignment and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, definitely keep your eyes peeled as time goes on for Professor. I'm excited for the growth.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Shoham, can you end it with gameplay?
Sure. As soon as the server releases, I'm going to make a new and improved system for our server. A lot of things are going to be changed for the better, and it will allow smoother gameplay for everyone. Instead of using customized public resources, our system is going to be customized and exclusive to Rowling's realm. In addition to the new system, we're also going to add new features every once in a while to make sure that Rowling's realm stays magical.
As
Exciting.
always.
Yeah. So I believe that is the end of the future of RR. So now you are allowed to ask any questions you have. This is the last question segment. This will take us to the end. So just ask any final questions you may have. Anyone, any questions you have about the future stuff we just talked about, professions, anything, and we can answer them best of our abilities for you.
We are all ears, or in this case, eyes.
The time zone is set in PST. There's currently a staff team of about 40 people.
Yes, you will get an engine notification regarding beta testing if you are a donator.
How many quests will there be? There'll be a
Oof.
lot.
I've already lost count and I'm nowhere near finished, so if that tells you enough.
Yeah, no, it's everything to do with professions is in-game currency. We don't make you pay anything on the donation store.
Hudson's Underpass is only specific to Ilvermorny students, so it's just the Dagon equivalent, not necessarily a trading post, like internationally.
Yes, all staff have a visible rank so you know what their role is. Vada Kedavra probably will be available on the server, though it will be extremely hard to get, obviously,
Definitely.
for obvious reasons. But yeah, it probably will be available on the server, most likely. The engine message will go into detail on everything we have in terms of the dates that it'll be running on, the overall plan. It might go into detail on some of the stuff you might be doing, though most of that will be explained closer to the day of, or the few days of. We do have a list, so depending on which role which rank we feel is more important for the player to know they do, will depend on which title is shown. But what do you mean by buys votes? Are you referring to the president?
Right.
Presidency?
If so, then that's very highly frowned upon.
Yeah. Buying votes will probably be against the rules. Well, they will be against the rules. So if they were buying votes, they'd be kicked out of the running. We will have unforgivable curses, yes. And when you say school villages, do you mean like Hogsmeade, for example?
If so, we do have Hogsmeade. If a staff member has more than one role, I believe either their primary, we might either make them choose, or if it doesn't take up enough room, then we might include the applicable tags.
In order to get into the running, you have to apply on the site. So the PA department will quickly just run through the applications. People who say like, "Oh, this is what I want to do. I want to do this because I think it'll be fun, or they have a good reason for it." Then it will probably accept 3 people to do it. Then those 3 people will be announced, and the players will know who's going for it. Obviously, we'll have rules against it, so you can't do it you can't do it twice in a row. So that way it's never like the same people. There will be a Quidditch mini game. Yes, it'll be released later on, though. It won't be there for opening, but it will be there quite soon after.
Can staff run for president of MACUSA? Ideally, no. Because we want to involve the player base just a little bit more. So
yeah, it's more of a player-based sort of activity, really.
yeah.
We probably will have solo mini games, though they won't be things like parkour. I mean, you probably will have mazes, but things like parkour and stuff, I think, is just sort of a little bit like mainstream. So that's why we want to go for more interesting, exciting things like our custom mini games and stuff. At this time, we do not have any non-staff ranks, though after open, I'm sure we will. There are two ranks that you can only get if you are a staff member, because they are sort of like there's not much to do within them. And that would be editor, and that would be events.
How long from entry to graduation, post-grad career? It depends how fast you get your spells, how often you're online, attending classes, and so forth. It can take from weeks to months, I would say, but like Braden said earlier, nothing too extensively long, so don't have to worry about that. And this kind of leads back onto like the other question that I saw: how many classes happen in a day? Ooh. I could say probably at least, like absolute bare minimum, probably about 2 or 3 a day. So definitely be on the lookout. They'll happen more often than it is of me just announcing in public Rowlings Realm Discord. And there'll be a set schedule for that.
Yeah. In terms of mini games, future mini games, any ideas you have, let us know. You can put it in our ideas channel on our Discord. We are definitely open to pretty much any person's idea on anything we have going. We love your opinions on things, and we love making sure that whatever sort of thing we're adding, it is something you guys are wanting. So things like the magical battle royale, if you think that is something that would be fun, then let's definitely put it in the ideas channel, and we can definitely put that on our list and consider it. I would say Grindelwald won't be a boss, just because if you beat him, it wouldn't really make sense to the overall lore of the story and the server. As for mobs in the wilderness, they essentially, you walk into the camp and they, just like any other regular Minecraft mob, they'll spawn in and then they'll start attacking you. Yes, classes will be scheduled.
Yes. And yes, you can run around from school to school with no barriers.
Though I would suggest not on foot, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of swimming pending if you want to go across the oceans to different continents. At this time, I did not see New Zealand being introduced, no. We may add some canon characters in, though, as this is 1920s. Most
There's
like
not
your
many.
regular Harry Potter ones wouldn't really be here, though there would be obviously a few from Fantastic Beasts we can include, though it really just depends on whether we want to really mingle, how much we want to mingle with it, though we definitely can, yeah.
Will Durmstrang have houses? Yep, they have 3. Fenrir, Draken, and Valkyrie.
It wouldn't be possible to finish your graduation in a week due to the fact that we do have
quest cooldowns.
Quest cooldowns that would prevent you from doing that, and there also is quite a few steps to a lot of the quests, which would make it quite difficult.
Will you get a Keyblade wand? Probably not at opening. Maybe down the line a little bit, but probably not immediately.
We do plan on adding in-game music, yes. Whether it's there for opening or not, I cannot say, though it will be there in the future of RR for sure. If you want to swim, have at her. It'll take you a while though, so
It will.
be in it for the long run. There are locations on the map, which when you get there, it's a secret entrance sort of thing into the city. So when you find them, it'll take you into the city, and then you'll get the city as a flu location to warp to. Castle Bruxa will not be attended, but it will be explorable, yes. Once we add the player housing, that is up to the players to decide if they want to make a family house or not. That's totally up to them. We do have a full rules page that is on our Discord, so you can see that there. Though obviously drama is not tolerated very well, as we like a happy, family-friendly environment for everybody.
The class schedule will be posted, if not a few days before opening, maybe a week before, but definitely before opening. Or, if we're in the mood for surprise, the day of opening.
And yes, the stream will be posted back up, so you can come back and watch as many times as you want. No, there is 9 wand models as possible for anybody, and it's just randomly selected which one you get. At this time, OWLs and NEWTs have not been fully thought of and discussed and processed yet, so we are not sure how those are going to properly work on the server.
You graduate from year to year by getting all of the spells for the year along completing the respective year in quest. So, full gameplay there. Wand models. I know that there are a plethora that are going to be available in the store, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. Will classes be shown to professors before they will be announced? Of course, yeah. Professors get a sneak preview of the schedule before opening or before the respective week that's going to be shown.
The opening launch event is not going to be announced until the MRR, so if you're interested in where that's going to be held, which it is quite an interesting location, and it is also a surprise, you can read the monthly Rowlings Realm that will be coming out later this month.
Beta release day, keep your eyes peeled, donators, for an engine mess here Monday or tomorrow.
You will start with Lumos, I believe.
Yes.
Staff will not have exclusive wand models, no. We do plan on having an in-game newspaper, yes.
Different starting stories. For the most part, yeah. You start out with a different parental figure. In some storylines, you might have a sibling or a best friend, or the possibilities are endless. The general progression will be the same, but for the most part, each is unique in its own way. Entirely sure if there will be a second test. So I believe we would probably just have one, and then but definitely be on the lookout. In a place of international trade, probably not. International trade. International trade will most likely be done through player trade or player interaction stuff. And yes, staff goes online before opening, so don't worry about that. Will you guys make your own lore gloss? Well, on the website, rollingsrealm.com, we do have a tab that has all the lore that I myself wrote for each school. So all 5 of them, because I included Malvern, are on that little tab, so definitely go check it out. As mentioned before, OWLs are probably not something present at opening, though down the road, definitely, probably. Is dueling unique? I mean, if dueling's pretty universal, but with our own custom magic plugin, I would say it's unique in its own way. What will carry over after early access? If you mean like a player progression, most of that is reset, but of the perks listed in their early access package will ideally transfer over. Oh, of course. Sorry, I didn't see. Just saw that one now about quests and staff members as NPCs. Of course, of course. Since most of the head staff are headmasters or headmistresses of their respective school, you can definitely find them in their school. So, yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Probably not. Regarding the whole lore glossary.
In terms of events, we have usually there'll be one event per month, though if there's quite a few in a clump, then we'll leave a month empty. So then there'll be like usually, but for the most part, there will be at least 1 month or one event in a month. In terms of event themes, I'm not going to release any of those right now. We're going to try our best to make everything as fair as possible for between the yearing and between graduates and stuff, yes. I'd like to assume we'd be on often, yes. For the most part, I do believe we will be on, yeah. At this time, pets do not fight for you, though. I could see in the future you might add that as an add-on. Could be quite interesting.
A question that was mentioned earlier, will there be a roleplay chat? Most definitely, as there will be people come and pass by that do enjoy role-playing aspect.
Yes, we do. We have a 16 by 16 version of the texture pack and a 32 by 32. App rating will be a spell you have to unlock later on.
Although I believe you will be able to access the Flu network.
Yeah.
I want to say within your first year.
Yeah, all I gotta do is adventure.
Yep. Clubs may not be a prominent feature at the time of opening, although down the line, it's an option. do do.
Yes, we might be making a few changes to a few of the perks just before opening, or a few of the names or whatever, but for the most part, everything will stay the same after that, yeah.
I would say the story is moderately continuous, although, as I mentioned before, that there's an ultimate choice that you must make, there's still much to do beyond that. Because the final choice is just before you graduate, so you still have the entirety of all the professions that you can play that each have their own unique quest line and story to them that is given through quests. So I would say it's moderately continuous.
I would say what would make players interested to play here would be the fact that almost all of our features are completely custom. A lot of our features are extremely advanced compared to other servers. We have a lot to explore. Obviously, we have a lot to see. We have a lot to do. The journey never really ends. There's always more being added, especially with our custom minigames coming out after release. Those will be quite exciting. I mean, it'll be hard to get bored of protecting a Niffler, I'm sure. So yeah, so I think Rowling's Realm would be quite interesting and quite fun for pretty much anybody. I'd say my favorite mob or creature we've added would probably be. I mean, I love them all. They're all absolutely amazing and adorable. But I have to say the Niffler is just my absolute favorite. You can't go wrong with that.
My fave mechanic on Rowling's Realm, well, I'd be biased in saying classes are quests, but classes are quests.
Unfortunately, Charles, there is not a statue dedicated to you anywhere within the world.
Unfortunately.
There will be dueling Rowling's Realm, yes. Our goal with Rowling's Realm is to make anything possible in J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World possible on Rowling's Realm.
Yep.
We do plan on having dueling tournaments as well, yes. That is unknown. It will be released probably midday PST.
Sneaking in via flu. I'm afraid it'd be difficult to sneak into a classroom considering they're not accessible via the flu network, but you can try. Yeah, as said earlier, we do plan on having a research event down the line, so yes. Am I proud of all my children? Indeed I am.
Unfortunately, neither Jay or Niles gets the statue.
I mean, we both have an NPC in our respective schools, but no statue.
No statue. Yeah.
Oh, classes, you will get teleported to the respective classroom upon joining. There may be like a little delay, but the professor will ultimately teleport you.
Obviously, the answer would still reside, Charles, with the only remaining owner, which would have to be me. Unfortunately, for you.
I saw a question asking if there was going to be goats. That is definitely considered in the future. But I would ask you, and I will say that there is one, and you can definitely keep your eye out for the Niles Montgomery NPC.
Oh my. Oh, Dimitri. How
Dimitri
can we
doesn't have a
forget?
statue, but he does have a house. You can find his house somewhere on the grounds of Malvern Academy.
And he just might have his own little quest.
Yeah, who knows? By that it means it'll probably be the head and assistant head who will be looking through the McCusa president applications. You can see what Ilvermorny looks like in, I think it's 2 of our past trailers. The one we showed at the beginning of this, and then the one we sent before this one. Charles will not have his own house or quest. It's might possible in future that I might change my mind, but yeah, we do also have a Planet Minecraft post, which shows off our Ilvermorny.
Housings might be a feature down the line, although not at opening.
I do believe in future, once RR is open, we will have a YouTube team. We will have consistently and regular YouTube videos. Of course, the coolest OM member would have to be you, Charles.
A professor bio page, that would be something. I'll look into that. Is the basilisk
The
in Hogwarts?
basilisk. You can find the Chamber of Secrets, but the basilisk is not out to play.
He's sleeping still.
Updates will be handled, so we will announce prior to like the closing of the server, however many hours it takes. We'll announce that it's going to be closed. Then once we're open, we will announce anything that's we've added or changed. I will announce all the new maps or whatever has been added.
Oof. How unique would you describe your professors as? Oof. I'd say some of the most unique individuals I've met, because each of them have their own like little, like different personality about them. Maybe some people are just more like a little bit more, maybe a little bit more straightforward, and this is what I'm teaching you, and this is what it is. Whereas some might just go into this really long explanation of a story that may be true, you never know, regarding the subject that they're teaching. So I would say they're a pretty fair, unique bunch. All 20 of them.
I don't have a favorite builder. All of our builders are wonderful in their own ways.
The texture pack won't be downloadable, although you can select it once you are on Rowling's Realm. What do I think of wand lore? A good subject. Even though I love all my subjects,
the most. I'd have to say Bobaton's been redone the most. Probably. I don't really know. I'm gonna assume that. Because Ilvermorny's only been redone a second time. Hogwarts the same a second time. Durmstrang, it was done once. So Bo, I think, has been done 4 times.
Can the Elder Wand be stolen? No, Grindelwald is large.
Yeah. We will of course hire Bill Nye to rap one of our songs. During those maintenance, we probably most likely will have minigames still up, yes. Depending on what kind of maintenance it is. The best school is obviously Malvern Academy.
Obvious, okay. I don't know, there really isn't a best school. Although my favorite school build, oof, that's a tough one. Obviously Ilvermorny, because that's my school.
Mhm.
But I will have to say Beauxbatons is a really...
Thank you.
And will I be teaching on the server? Yes. Maybe not as often as you would like, but I will be teaching, yes.
Rowling's Realm was the idea concept was come up with by Charles and myself in what was it, July of 2016. It wasn't started until November of that same year, and it's been going ever since. So about a year and a half, almost 2 years. I mean, in terms of staff dressing up, that's totally up to them. I can tell a story about Charles.
The end.
Yeah, the end. I don't know. He has worked here, behind in the shadows since the very beginning. After he left, of course. Obviously, we try to give him as much credit as possible, though I don't think he gets as much credit as he deserves. He's absolutely fantastic and is really the man behind the scene with almost anything visually appealing that we show you guys, whether it's the site or this live stream or a trailer. He's always working very hard. I would say I am quite proud, yeah. It's definitely something then it's definitely been quite the adventure. There's been a lot of ups and downs. But I've met a lot of terrific people over the last 2 years. Made a lot of friends, and I've had overall quite a good and happy, exciting time. So yeah, I definitely am quite proud of the community we have today, and yeah. You do not get in trouble for exploring it dark. This before Mr. Filch was game, or whatever he is, before he was at Hogwarts.
Also, the average class will hold about, I mean, maximum it could probably hold about, I'd say 100 maybe. So, and it obviously can go beyond that, but just for now.
Yeah,
Yes, all
I
subjects have their own classroom.
I would say the events team is the best team on RR. Either that or the
Wow.
prefect team.
Totally not biased at all.
No, but I mean, I do love all the teams. All the teams have like amazing people in them, and they all do a lot of work. So, although the events team and my prefect team might be dearest and closest to my heart, I love them all. Okay, so I think now, unless you have any final questions, we'll probably wrap it up and call it the end. Yeah, thank you everyone. What, Niles?
I said it was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming. It was definitely quite fun. This will be put back up on YouTube, so anyone who's missed it can watch it. Anyone who wants to rewatch it can watch it. Yeah, we definitely plan on doing more of these in the future. So I will see you all later.
Bye.
See you around. Bye.